Okay, we're moving on. Which cat? Welcome to the Empower Hour, where we take 1 hour from your week to discuss impactful subject matters that affect our everyday lives. My name is Al Kumar. This is my co-host,
Hanifa.
and we're going to be talking to you today on stress, the silent killer. Ooh. Yeah. Now, what we did have in store for you was a very, very, very special guest, but we don't know where she is. So we've been trying to reach her, Miss Ayo, and that's so unlike her. So I don't know. I think she just got caught up, and she's leads a extremely busy life. And so I think maybe she just forgot about that little old us over here. So maybe she's on her way. So we've been trying to reach her. Hopefully, we've been trying to definitely reach her and can't get her. So if you're watching us or if you know Miss Ayo out there in in cyber world, let her know that we want her in the studio. We need her in the studio, please. But what we decided to do, because this is a live show and the show must go on. We're not in a situation where we can stop and cut and edit or rearrange or any of that. We have to keep moving for you guys. So what we have decided to do is Hanif and I is going to kind of broach this subject to the best of our capabilities. I mean, we don't have the expertise that Miss Ayo has in her field of work. She does stress breathing, and we really wanted her to share with you guys some of her techniques, powerful techniques on how we can alleviate stress in our community just by breathing a different way. And so she, was going to share all that with us. Hopefully, she will be sharing all that with us. And if we can't get her today, we most certainly will reschedule and have her come on back and share that information with us. But Hanifa and I will we'll do the best we can along with the Facebook because you guys are brilliant. So I'm sure with your help, we can tackle this subject and do very well with it. Hey, Travis, Nelson, appreciate you guys chiming in. If you're chiming in with us for the first time, we certainly appreciate you checking us out. If you tune in every week, we are humble bow to you guys. Thank you so much, and those of you who share this information with your loved ones and your friends on your own page, you guys are very special, and we appreciate that as well. What we're going to do right now is what we normally do. We're going to take this time and discuss briefly where we are. We are in the eLife Media Studio. eLife is short for Everlasting Life Media, which is one conglomerate out of, well, am I saying that right? One thing out of a huge conglomerate. This brilliant man we have with us, we're so blessed to have with us in the studio almost every week, is the owner and operator of a conglomerate of different businesses and establishments, and this is one inside of Everlasting Life Restaurant and Lounge. It is a vegan restaurant here, 9185 Central Avenue. That's in the Capitol Heights section of Maryland, right off of exit 15B. So, yeah, come if you have never visited us here at Everlasting Life, check us out. Come on, check us out. There's a lot to see, a lot to experience. Great tasting food. People who come for the first time, and they're always kind of skeptical about the food because it is all 100% vegan. And but once they taste the food, they're pleasantly surprised at the taste because it is soul food, and so they put the little spin in it. Them chefs in the back be doing their thing.
Yes.
Don't they be doing their thing. I'll be like, whoa, can the food taste any better? So come on and check us out here. Everlasting Life is one of three restaurants, and the other two are in Tacoma Park section of Washington, D.C. So if you're familiar with Tacoma Park, right where the Metro Center sits, you get right off the Metro, walk a half a block up the road, same side, you'll run right into Evolve Restaurant and Lounge. Definitely check them out there. They do a special every Thursday, a happy hour every Thursday with buy one get one half off drink special or something to that effect. Same great tasting food. And then right across the street, up the road a bit from there, you will run right into Vigoritos. And that is a, what do you call that, Doc?
Vegan burritos.
A vegan burrito shop. So you can go there and get a burrito if you're privy to Mexican style food with the vegan twist. You want to go there and check them out. Um, we're gonna again, like we always do, we're gonna hop right on into our subject matter, and then we're gonna swing and loop right on back around midway and share with you guys some more pertinent information about what you can expect and all the things that's going on here at the restaurant and lounge. Hanifa!
Alkema, how are you today?
I'm wonderfully
Yes,
well.
you look wonderful.
Yeah, had a little, time off. Went on out to the beach last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, had a good time with the fam. We try to get together. My family and I, it used to be an annual thing, but now, oh God, we seem like we can't get enough of each other these days. So it's been like every 3 months,
Yeah.
somebody puts out a call, hey, let's go for the
Really?
weekend. Da, da, da. We all congregate.
Just spontaneously.
Yeah, so we were at the beach this weekend. That was fun. How about you? How you feeling? What's going on in your
I'm
world?
okay, just quiet today.
Uh-huh.
So mellow today.
Yeah.
Just kind of taking everything in.
That's the zone.
Yeah, I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
I'm deep in thought.
You're always in the zone, though, Hanifa. Always in the zone. Okay, so stress,
Yes.
the silent killer.
Yes. So I guess we could just talk about just stress in general and
Yeah.
how we deal with stress in
Yeah.
our lives. For me personally, I mean, just to be honest, I'm sort of a person that detaches
Mhm.
very easily
Mm-hmm.
from situations, from people. I mean,
We've talked about that.
yes, it's just my makeup. It's not something that I have to work hard at. It's not. But so I don't really take on a lot of stress, and I also I've learned to manage my space pretty well because I'm the gatekeeper to my space. I decide what goes out and what comes in as well.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and so me living by that has helped tremendously. I think the only person that tends to have access to that space without my consent,
It's your son.
not the family. Period.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, 'cause you were
Family
saying
is well, my son is family, right? That's my son. But yeah, family in general. It's always a touchy topic or
Okay.
situation for me, always. But generally speaking, no, I think I manage my space pretty well.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
know you asked me a question once. It was something, and you was like, "How does that feel? How does it feel to even be in that space?" I can't remember what it was. And I was telling you, it wasn't necessarily a stressful situation, but it was something anyway. Nonetheless, you was like, "How does that feel? Like, hey, how does that feel? You felt that way before?"
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like, I'm realizing more and more. I like to say personally that I've lived in a bubble for some years, specifically all of my 20s. So a lot of things I can't relate to, and that's probably where I was coming from. Like, I'm not sure I know what that feels like. I mean, what does it feel like? You know, and then there are things that I can relate to, but I relate to them because they come out of my adolescent years, more than likely growing up in the islands.
Right.
That's about it. But like my whole 20s, I think I
Right.
lived in a religious bubble.
Yeah.
So I think I missed a whole lot.
Interesting.
Yes.
And for me, as
Mhm.
it pertains to stress in my life, I used to stress over a lot of different things. But I've learned how to manage it. And so, like money, I don't stress money, and
That's
where
a
do
big
my
one
next
for a lot of people.
yeah, and I don't stress over that kind of
Good.
stuff. The basic needs and necessities of life. I don't worry about those kind of things anymore because I just came into a better realization of how life works. How the spirit life works in this journey, and so it came by. Well, I don't think it was by accident, but basically by observation, by watching how I used to stress all the time in vain. And everything I would stress about after, during the course of time, as time moved on, I would be all right. And so I got to the point where it's like, why do I keep stressing over these situations when every time I stress, I come out of it just fine? So it's like I'm stressing in vain. Why would I keep doing that to
Yeah.
myself? So I stopped.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing that no more because I know I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
And that was like a powerful awareness when I came to that realization, because it does so much. It relieves so much burden from your life.
Yeah.
You know, because stress is a killer.
It is. It definitely is, and it brings disease to the body.
Oh,
you know, one of the things that I think have helped me tremendously in managing stress is realize, because we talk a lot about peace, right? A lot of people are all about peace, not necessarily world peace, but individual peace, right? Mental peace. Once I learned that peace does not come from without, but from within, I understood that you can go into any situation, you can go into any environment. It could be very chaotic.
That's right.
And you can maintain your peace.
I agree.
You can be sitting in the middle of chaos and have peace.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of us need to grasp, because we depend on our environment.
Yes.
And how it's set up to determine whether we have peace or not. So it's like I'm coming around you and I'm like, you know, she just stressed me out. I don't want to be around Alkema. She's a hot mess. You know, and don't get me wrong, you should protect your energy as well. But we avoid, like I gave my friend the example yesterday. Being in the church all of my 20s into my early 30s, you hear a lot, you know, you're the light of the world, right? And so what happened in that environment is that we flocked to people who thought like us, who went to the same places. We didn't go to many places, but go to the same places as us, dressed the same as us. And I took issue with that, because if I'm light, then light don't need me, darkness does. So why am I running away from darkness? And that's where I'm needed most.
Yes.
But it's safe for us to exist in a space of like-minded people because it's comfortable.
Yeah, it's comfortable.
It's comfortable, right?
Where if somebody is it's edging your nerve,
right?
You know, edging your nerve, saying things that you're not accustomed to hearing, and it pulls on some nerves within you that's not comfortable, and so you shy away, you stay away from that.
Right.
You go to where it's comfortable.
Right.
But it's no growth in that.
There is no growth.
There's no growth.
How do you grow?
You stagnate in that space if you don't challenge yourself or allow others to challenge you.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. We try to avoid, and that's what I said. I think that we miss that idea that our light, again, was coming from this external force. And this is where I have the issue with seeking a God outside of ourselves. And so you think that your light comes from this external force. And therefore, if I go into any other space, they have the ability to snatch that light or to pollute me. But when you understand that it comes from within you, you actually want to go into those spaces because you know that you're an atmosphere shifter, right?
Come on with it,
you know you are. So it's just like those things coming from, like for me, I had to learn that my peace doesn't come. You can't give me the peace I need. You know, no man outside myself can give me the peace I need. No statue, no religious figure. That peace is there. It's for me to tap into it and exist in that space and go in and out of that space as I please. Because we have the ability to do that. Exactly.
I love it. That sounds like a porn title.
I'm gonna start writing it.
I love it. I love it. I agree with all that. Ashe. Yeah, that's powerful stuff. What's the family saying?
So someone was saying, Nelson. Nelson said 50 cents said, pray, don't worry. And you only need to pray once.
You only need to pray once.
What does prayer mean to you?
That's an interesting concept. Prayer for me, how should I put this? I don't do a lot of asking
Mm.
for things through
Mhm.
prayer.
Mhm.
My prayers tend to come in the form of thankful, being
Gratitude.
gratitude,
Mhm.
being
Mhm.
grateful. It's
Mhm.
like when something happens
I
in
like
my
that.
life,
Mhm.
I always, oh, thanks for everything, Allah.
Right.
You know, I always stop to give Allah that thanks.
Okay.
You know, so
Mhm.
that's more for me what my prayers entail. You know, now when I'm in different religious sects and things like that, like if I go to the mosque, which I do on occasions,
Right.
you know, I get an urge to go and commune with like-minded spirits,
Mhm.
and it's prayer,
Yeah.
you know, and I definitely pray. I respect, you know, the
Mhm.
prayer, and you know, and I go into prayer
Okay.
too with them, you know, spiritually.
Mhm.
But for the most part, for me personally speaking, most of my prayers are and come in the form of gratitude. That's what prayer means for me.
Mhm.
Just thanking the Creator for
Gratitude.
all of the gifts
I like
that's
that.
bestowed upon me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those whom I love.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
What about you?
Prayer. If I had to change, prayer used to be a begging posture for me. Please do this. Please, please. A lot of I would put out a lot of fleeces, and putting out a fleece means, you know, if it's bargaining. If you do this, then I will do that. and that, and that is prayer for a lot of us. If you do this, but I think once my concept and my understanding of God, what we call God, right, changed, naturally, my prayer life changed. So prayer is like an active meditation for me. It's life. Prayer is life. You know how we live our life.
Explain that.
You know what I mean? And because if I like there's that scripture, as a man thinketh, so is he, right? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if I feel that I have to depend on something else to do something for me, like something I could do for myself, I need to depend on this unseen force to fulfill those things. That is exactly how I would live my life. It's exactly how, and I think this connects to the way that we think as Black people.
I was gonna say that's
We have
that's
a
where we
dependent-
are right now
yes.
as a whole.
Because religion, and I cannot wait until we do the show on religion,
No.
friend or foe. Religion cripples us
Yeah.
in that way. It postures us
I
in
agree.
that way. It puts us in a begging posture,
Yeah.
you know, because that is how we've been trained from the time we're young. And because that is how you approach your supreme being, God, force, higher source, whatever you want to call him. Some of us just say God.
Right.
However you approach that energy, that source, is how you will live your life.
I agree. A good example comes to mind when I hear you say that is like, for instance, like when something tragically happens, and the vast majority of people will say, "Oh, I'll pray for you. Oh, you're in my prayers. You're in my prayers." And I thought one day, I said, "Well, I wonder how much different the scenario would be if instead of saying I'm gonna pray for you, you say, what can I do for you right now? What do you need that I can help you with? Where can I help? Where can I say?" Again, taking that power and put the onus, the responsibility back on you to make something, the God in you to make something happen, versus just saying, "Oh, I'm gonna pray for you," and then that's that. And now the trauma is still playing itself out without your assistance.
You know what's when we're driving? What's the thing where you put your car in and it kind of is on the highway, kind of going at a certain pace? You set it that way.
Oh, the cruise control.
Cruise control, right? We live in cruise control, right? I don't think it's a deliberate thing. I think it's just the way we're wired. It's like the first thing that we go to. But I feel sometimes if we dissect our prayers, oh my gosh, we pray about the pettiest thing, like the pettiest thing, things that we can get up and go and do. You're like, girl, if you don't get up off your knees talking to God about that application you need to go fill out. Like, he is not going to fill that out for you, sweetie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, but yeah,
somebody out there. But it's real.
It's real. So I'm saying, like, when you dissect your prayers, you're like, wait a minute. I can actually go do this. And if we start really dissecting our prayers, I'm telling you, we will have less to say to God. Well, what we call God. We will have less to say to God. We will really start list. And another part of prayer for me is listening. We do a lot of talking.
Ooh, that's what I mean.
We do a lot of talking.
That's what I mean.
You know,
it's all gratitude.
yeah, but
as
listening.
opposed to, oh God, please, I'm praying to you. I come to you with my Christmas gift.
Right.
I mean, list. I come to you
Because we treat
my
God.
Christmas list.
We treat God. We want to say with reverence, but it's not reverence and respect. We treat this God concept that we have as a genie in the bottle. That this force or energy is there to meet whatever needs we want, and that's exactly how we approach it.
Why do we do that? Where does that stem from?
Again, I think it goes back to the dependency piece.
The dependency?
To me, I mean, that's just, yeah, to me, yeah. Where you mean what? Like you mean what?
Why do we take on those characteristics and where do we get that from? Where do we learn that from?
It's a good question.
You know, so somebody might can be able to
Because
share.
you're saying you're talking about something bigger than yourself. Spud West said religion keeps us divided as a people. You know.
And that's a good point that a lot of people brought up. And when I thought of that in more detail, I don't necessarily think that it's religion that divides us as a people, but I think it's our narrow-minded view on how we approach religion. So I think, the core of all religions are good. The core now. Now you may have people who practice within those confines of the religion that have ill intentions or have, ways that, they're looking to manipulate and control and all that kind of stuff. But the core of religions are good in nature. And so I don't think it's necessarily religion that divides us, but the people who practice religions and the way they do it and the way they go about doing it that does.
Well,
let me just finish that point, because you have people in every sect of religion that can get along with all other people in all different types of religions. They don't let religion divide them. So it's the people per se that divide between themselves versus the religion as a whole, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my feeling.
No, I understand. Religion, for me personally, I could see, okay, so I'm just going to be straightforward, right? The only religion, I've been exposed to Islam because my dad is a practicing Muslim. My mom was at one point. I'm not sure what she's doing right now, but yeah. Hi, Ma. But religion, the one I could speak, the angle I could speak from, I'll speak from. For me, when I was a Christian, I think one of the things that kept me distant from a lot of people from different faiths is the idea that our way is the only way to God. That is an arrogant, I mean, you cannot subscribe to that teaching. And again, you subscribe to it, you start to live it out.
Yeah.
So when I see you, your Muslim sister, and I'm talking to you, yeah, I could be friendly with you. I could be social. We could be cool. We could go to eat. We can hang out. We can have sleepovers. All that good stuff, Alcama. But at the end of the day, I still see you as someone whose soul needs to be saved because you have not started walking in the way that I am walking in. So there's still a level that I am not going to kind of explore with you, because to me you're still a sinner. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
That is divisive because it's a barrier for intimacy in relationships. And I'm talking about intimacy in friendships, getting to know you on a deeper level, you know, because every time I think about it, I'm trying to convert you. Some way. I'm gonna find some way to try to throw that in there instead of just letting it be organic and just create a friendship that's just built on love, period. But once you think that your way is the only way, that's almost impossible. It is almost impossible to do so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a dynamic I've never considered before. Thank you for it. Okay.
Someone was saying, imagine all the praying that took place in Texas, all to no avail.
Yeah. 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 I mean, yeah, that's definitely something to be explored, and I think we get into what you said, cruise control, a comfort zone, to where we do things so much and so often and so frequently that it becomes a part of our life. And so if somebody comes, I can tell you, hey, that's not working. You fight against that. You fight. You don't want to accept that because that's the foundation of your life. So if somebody tell you, hey, you know what I'm saying, you've been praying and praying and praying, and in your mind you convince yourself that prayer works.
I was just gonna. We will never say, for example, if you're praying for something and this thing is a good thing, it's a good thing. It's going to make life better in your eyes, of course, for you, for your family, and somehow this thing does not come through. We have been trained so to, oh well, it wasn't for me because he knows what's best for me.
Yeah.
And you understand what I'm saying?
And that helps you to justify the fact that it didn't work for you.
Right. That maybe your prayer, I don't know. Maybe your prayer didn't work. I don't know.
That helps you to justify that.
Right. Or maybe your God don't answer those type of prayers. I don't know.
Yeah.
And even with prayer, I've always wondered, like with teams, sport teams.
Yeah.
Forget sport teams. When I was in the church, I used to wonder this all the time because church people fight. Okay, they fight. They have their little quarrels among each other. So now you're fighting with your sister or your brother in the Lord, and the two of you guys on the altar. Whose prayer is being answered? Because both are claiming to be children of God. I always wondered about things. This is kind of why I kind of,
That's like the theory of like the Ku Klux Klan member being a Christian and someone else not being a Christian, and they both are praying to the same God. If Jesus or Jesus Christ they both proclaim Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, and they both are praying to the same Jesus Christ. Then whose prayer is going to be answered?
Right. Sorry.
You want to say something, Doctor?
I just wanted to join in on the conversation. One, I think it's a great show and it's a great subject matter, and stress is really a really big deal, especially, as we don't understand the right channels to release it. And I just wanted to reflect on, have you all ever read the letter that King Leopold of Belgium wrote to his Christian ministers?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, I would encourage all of our viewers and listeners to check it out. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. I'm going to speak a little bit about it before I read it, though. What he had found is when he went to Africa, when he went to the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, he found that the people did right. They lived right. They didn't sleep with each other's wives. They didn't cheat. They didn't lie. They didn't steal. They didn't do anything wrong. So what he wanted to do is install an institution that was going to make them understand, well, this is the reason why, or this is why this should be perpetuated, and this is where you need to redirect your energy. And if you redirected the energy through the institution of religion, then they would be able to benefit from it. So what was going on in Africa is that they were doing right, they were doing good, but now all of a sudden, now they had to give them justification for doing good, in addition to letting them know that there are teachings that they need to get so that they would know how to do good. But they never had this problem before. So he wrote this letter, and I don't need to read over it, but I would encourage all of us to get a copy of the letter and read how he used religion to totally destabilize that country. And it wouldn't have mattered whether the religion was whatever.
Yeah.
It didn't matter
Yeah.
the name of it.
Yeah.
It's just that he used that religion to all of a sudden subvert right behavior with it's now Christian behavior.
Exactly.
So right behavior before has now been redefined as, oh, you're saved.
Right.
No, dang on it, I'm right.
Right.
I'm just right. I do right. I know what's right. I do what's right. I don't need somebody to qualify my right. I don't need somebody to educate me on. I know what's right. My parents, my religion was my grandmother. My grandmother gave me my religion, and it was like, if you don't do right, I'm gonna deal with you. Okay, I figured that out early on, and okay, I got it. My religion was quick. But I think we need to understand in a really deep way. We need to go back to the source. We
Yeah.
need to become hermeneutical scholars, where you're going all the way back to the
Yeah.
beginning
Yeah.
and say, well, what was the original purpose of this?
Right,
Exactly.
because my question to you was going to be, what was people doing or practicing before King Leopold came with this newfound platform?
Well, if there's a parable in Africa, and they talk, the parable talks about the potential, the human potential, or man's potential, and that the enemy was approaching. The enemy was approaching from all sides. So where do we hide the human potential? Where do we hide man's potential? Well, let's put it in the mountain. Let's put it in the ocean. Let's put it, up in a tree somewhere. And they said, no. It's the human potential that gives us the capacity to defeat and to maintain and preserve ourselves. So the last thing we would want to do is remove it from outside of us. And that's what they have done with the institution of these religions. What was there before now was what was inside of us.
Exactly.
And what has replaced that is something that is outside of us that we need to pursue after, rather than something that is inside of us that we need to cultivate.
Yep.
I
agree.
I
I agree
say,
with that, yeah.
there you have it.
But I do agree. I do think that prayer and how we practice prayer, where people are talking and I think it can be a stress reliever. I don't want to even minimize that part of it,
Yeah.
because you getting, however you posture yourself on your knees, standing up, eyes closed, crying
Yeah.
about some things, really getting it out. I prefer you to do that than to hold it in
Mhm.
and really attract disease in the body or create disease in the body. If prayer is how you get it out, then go for it. By all means.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
By all means. And because what came to mind when I was listening to Doc talk was even the whole concept of religion, of the practice of doing right.
Mhm.
So it's like, if I think some of us will say we don't need nobody else to tell us right from wrong. That's innate. That's already given to us from birth. But I'm not so sure about that, because I look at the world today and I look at, like, say, a lot of the young folk who just gone astray, and it's just doing all kind of things that are outside of the laws of righteousness. Of righteousness. And so how do you then pull them back in and stir them on a better path? You leave it up to them to do. You see, you know what I'm saying? So I think that the foundation, now that if there is a foundation where they could go and they can learn and get that proper knowledge to be able to transform their lives and go and do something different with it, more righteous, to be a better citizen. What is so wrong with that versus allowing them to just go haywire and do whatever,
I don't think that it's allowing them to go haywire. I think we need to teach our kids how to connect. I think that's the key, because I think if I am connected to you, I am connected to nature, I will do no harm.
So where do they get that information? What is the process of gaining that?
Well, that's the family. That's the nucleus. That's what I'm saying.
What if the family isn't doing that?
But that's really the root of it, because what you're talking about is the branches of the tree.
Right.
But there's the root. The root is the family, and the family, as we know in the Black community, is so broken.
Right.
This is why we're seeing what we're seeing. So yes, I agree. In those circumstances, under those circumstances, they may need some laws on paper or something to follow, to kind of bring them a guide, to bring them back on that path. Absolutely. But this thing, as far as the divine, this innate divine divinity within us, this has to start from young. It has to start from young. But what's happening is that we're missing that. And now we are witnessing what happens when that is not done.
Yes.
So yes, I agree. There may be, to bring them back into what you're talking about, there may need to be some guidelines, in place to bring them back on that path.
Okay.
Yes. I think so. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. So how does all this relate to stress, though?
Yes. because we were connecting. I was just connecting prayer with stress as well. I was saying if that's
Yeah.
how you relieve your stress,
Yeah.
then by all means do so.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
some people meditate, some people exercise. I prefer you to find healthy ways to de-stress,
Yeah.
because we can look at our community and there are so many unhealthy ways that people are using in order to cope with stress every day.
Yeah.
Drugs, promiscuity, I mean,
Yeah.
alcohol. I mean, we could go on and on.
Sex.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what causes the most stress, you guys think, in our community in general? What is it that is causing our stress levels? Because we suffer from ailments and sicknesses, and a lot of it, I believe, is the root cause of that is stress. So then I like to go even deeper. Y'all know I like to go down to the root of why it is, because I am a firm believer is until you understand why you do what you do, you can't expect a change. You can't, because you just don't even. It's like somebody walking around with cancer, but they don't know they have cancer. So how they gonna cure the cancer if you don't even know you have it? So again, my question is, what is the root causes? Why do we turn to alcohol? Why do we turn to drugs? Why do we turn to sexual innuendos and things of that nature to appease us and to make us feel more comfortable in our lives? Why? Why do we do that?
I feel like we're weak economically, and that contributes to a lot of our stresses in our community. Well, I also think that we have a lot more economic strength than we really realize, but that comes from unity, from us coming together and bringing all our resources together. But we don't see that. We don't really. Some of us do, but for the most part, we're not getting that. So I think economics is a big one in our community, if not the biggest. Trying to exist in a space where you're not wanted, that's depressing, and that would be America. That's a setup for depression. And I actually realized too, in our community, we've normalized depression so
let's talk about
tremendously.
Let's talk about that.
To where people are walking around depressed and we're not calling it what it is.
Right.
And then I also think a lot of times, I think we had this sister on the show, she was talking about this, we touched on this a little bit. In the Black community, we see depression as one thing, is defined in one way. Oh, she's not depressed. I just saw her out partying last night with the press,
She
and
looked fine to me.
She looked fine to me.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with a family member of mine, and that is exactly how they felt. Like, no, I don't think she's depressed. Oh no.
But she's out partying,
drinking,
she's 100 pounds overweight.
Right. Or a couple of pounds underweight. I mean, either way, just really doing unhealthy things.
Right.
Exploring an unhealthy lifestyle in general. We have to know, even in our teenagers, drugs, out there just involved in risky behavior. That's the piece that we don't get. That there's a part of depression where people are just, doing risky things, with their lives. Like we don't really talk about that. We think depression is just someone moping around, and that's a part of it too. Moping around, has no drive, no motivation to do anything, bad hygiene, want to sleep all day. That's a part of it as well. But there's another side to the coin, and we don't really talk about that.
What's the other side?
The other side is the risky behavior piece.
Oh.
Yeah. That we don't really talk about.
Like what, for example?
I mean, we could talk
like
about
having several sexual partners.
Yeah.
Without having
not just several sexual partners, but also not really caring enough to protect yourself in doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is a part of self-love, and
Right.
Self-love goes out the window. You're just out there. You're doing drugs.
Yeah.
You're partying all the time.
Yeah.
Just engaging in really risky behaviors.
Yeah.
Promiscuity is a big one too.
Yeah.
We don't talk about in both male and females.
Yeah.
Yeah. In both male and females. So, Let's see what our audience is saying. Okay, when people are maneuvered into poverty-stricken condition, it produces certain mental conditions.
Yeah.
I agree with
Like,
that.
and when I hear, who said that?
This is Ishmael Mohammed.
Hey, Ishmael, thank you for sharing that. Like, yeah, when he said that, what came to mind is like where you find we normalized the behavior of people. Normally, a lot of people in the hood, they'll like cuss their children out, drop of a dime. I used to work in heart of Anacostia, DC, and if you guys know, that's the most poverty-stricken location in Washington, D.C. And I used to work at a store there. And would interact with the people, the community, and for the most part, wherever we go, we're just beautiful people in general, But I found there more than any place else, the short fuse, the short temper. People will get upset for the smallest of things.
The smallest of things.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. Or because we're right there on the street, so I can see the cars go past and light, and if somebody not moving fast enough at the green light, they cussing them out.
Yeah.
Or people walking down the street cursing each other out. It's like, it's interesting, the whole poverty thing, and how that affects us psychologically.
Yeah.
And then the children who grow up in that. And so like parents, women, normally they would be alone.
Right.
You know how that goes, the whole single parent scenario. And they're young. A lot of the parents are young. And they have the little children, and the little children are doing what little children do. And the babies get cursed out for it.
Snatched up.
Bring your MF self over here, you stupid da 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 da. And I was like, well, and that always shook me to know that, just based on conditioning.
Yeah. How
different lifestyles become just based, like you said, just based on sometimes an economic difference.
Yeah.
That if you because without with having little, that's poverty. That's the definition of poverty. Having little, the bare minimum. And for and to have to then fit your whole life around that lifestyle, is stressful.
And there's a whole conversation that's been happening around reality TV, right? And I know we're talking about drugs and alcohol and promiscuity and risky behaviors in general being used for people who, people that are dealing with depression. They're used as a way of escape. Reality TV is one of those things as well. And I think we have to put that into perspective. So it's not about judging our sisters.
Yes,
I'm going to say our sisters because that's kind of who is really the ones that are watching this stuff. It's not just about judging. It's trying to understand, why are you watching this? This is detrimental.
Are jumping out on that bandwagon too, though.
What reality TV they watching?
Yeah,
brothers.
I get a lot of, I spend a lot of time on social media, and I hear them. They be chiming in on the conversations.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's kind of getting to, why are you watching something that is detrimental to your well-being?
They don't know that,
or to your mental well-being, right? Because because we don't understand the subconscious and how that works. A guy said a long time ago, I think he was a preacher, and he was saying the one thing that can enter into the subconscious of a man without his consent is music. And he gave the example of when you go to the store. First of all, he sang this, and then the whole church ended up finishing it. So he was like, the best part of waking up. Everyone is like, oh, he's like, why do you know that? Why do you know that song? So he's saying, like, when you go into the stores, you're shopping, but you find yourself in there singing, grooving, and you're like, how is my body doing this? What's happening? Exactly. And we don't understand that. We think it's just entertainment. Right. There is nothing that is just entertainment.
Dr. Khalid Muhammad, one of the most strongest, radicalist people there were. He was Muslim, so of course he didn't practice and didn't celebrate religion. And he would tell the story about he was at the store one time, at the grocery store, and his Christmas carol came on, and he found himself singing it.
Yeah.
Now here's Dr. Khalid Muhammad Now, if y'all know the background of this brother, he's singing Christmas carols. The subconscious mind.
Exactly.
We don't even recognize that, it's at work when we're not even understanding it's at work.
And so most people are using reality TV as an escape.
Yeah.
Mechanism.
Yeah.
A lot of
it's a feel good pleasure.
Exactly. And then you have a lot of women who are single moms, and single moms in every sense of the word, really doing this on their own.
Yeah.
And that's a stress in itself.
Yeah.
So when they get home, they want to escape.
Yeah.
And not everyone is going to pick a self-help book up. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And so they tap into these things like, okay, I need an escape. I need to find, so this is where people tune into things like the Wendy Williams show, the gossip, because it takes the attention off of my bad situation. So now I can focus on somebody else's, and then I don't feel as crappy, as I probably would if I really start focusing on myself. My thing is, I don't have an issue about, gossip I have an issue with, but my thing is, talk about yourself.
Yeah.
Talk about yourself. Talk about the things that you can improve as an individual. That's what we need to start doing. We talked that we had a show on sisterhood. When you sit with the woman around you, if you can't have a conversation about the people in that circle, if all the conversations that are taking place is about people outside of that circle, then you need a different circle.
That's a heck of a teaching.
You just need a different circle. Go ahead.
I agree. Now, why for those out there, why is reality shows and things like that not good for us?
The image and how the Mona Scotts of the world, they're exploiting everything that is negative about us. They're making money off of it, and we are contributing to that. And we are perpetuating the lie that this is all Black men and Black women are about. We are doing that to ourselves when we support those type of that type of information that's being put out there about us.
So now I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, but this is reality, though. This is the reality of it's reality TV, and people's lives are this way. So what's wrong with just viewing like the show? I heard that a lot on this new movie that just came out, Girls Trip. I heard that. Well, it's reality. That's what people do when they go on trips and stuff. What's so wrong with watching
some things are realistic. Yeah, some things, these are realities that people have in their everyday life. My issue with a lot of the things is what are the solutions to those things? Can we have some programming that is showing us, okay, this is a part of the issue, single parent households in the Black community, the divorce rate. Like, if we want to talk about those things, let's talk about how do we go about solving those things. Reality TV is not doing that at all. At all. And it's not a lot of this stuff is not our reality. It is projected reality. It's a reality that's projected, that's put on us. For example, the fact that they try to put on us that Black people are animalistic, uncivilized, primitive. I could go on and on. Angry Black woman and all of these things, and I'm drama filled, and I'm like, you have to understand history, right? And you understand. No, if I hear a white person say that about Black people, or they just need to a lot of what do you call it? Respectability politics take place in our community. Well, if they would just do such and such, then this wouldn't happen to them. You know?
Yeah.
You hear that all the time.
Students.
Yes, that's one thing. Right.
All the time.
Right. And so my thing is, if you understand history, no. Your people are the rapists. Your people are the ones who pillage. Your people are animalistic. Your people are detached from nature. Your people have no love for mankind. The only time that they even engage and try to even pretend to love mankind is for their own gain. That is your characteristic. That is not our people.
That's projection, though.
That is projection.
No, because they have to do that to you because to accept that about themselves. Good God, you look in the mirror, accept all that about yourself. You know what I'm saying? That makes you feel horrible. Right. So you don't want to feel horrible. So you got to project all that energy into somebody else.
And sometimes they don't even have to project. We take it.
Yeah.
We take it on because you know what? if that means that it puts us in the same playing field as them, where we feel equal, we taking the good and the bad. Just give it to us. We just
Yeah.
want it because we want to be like them so badly.
It's sad. It's
And
sad.
so then we internalize that. And by the way, that then seeps over into how we raise our kids, because we internalize so many lies about ourselves and how we raise our kids. It is then seeps over into that. So we raise our kids out of fear and not love. How we're raising our kids is coming from a place of fear and not love.
Yeah. Something online that said, somebody said something to the effect was like, they put up with us or something. I said, no, we put up with them. We put up with them. You just change that scenario in your mind. It's like we always it's like you said, accepting of the bad.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? We're not the originators of that. But I wanted to go back to gosh, you were saying so much and I was trying
Sorry.
to no, you're good. Something the image, the
Mhm.
perception of us in media and in the shows that we watch and all that
Mhm.
stuff. For me, the danger of watching those shows and promoting those shows is the genocidal effect. I don't think we really understand and recognize that we are at war
Mhm.
out here,
Mhm.
and I don't think we get that that those who we war against use every facet of everything in this society against us.
Mhm.
And the media is no different.
Mhm.
So I don't think we really completely understand that when we are portrayed all the time in negative ways
Mhm.
as the drug addicts,
Mhm.
as the whores and hookers and fighting each other all the time and can't get along in marriages and we portray it in a negative way in every way, and then we watch this stuff and uphold it and tune in, and the ratings go up through the roof.
There you go.
That other people see this too
There-
across the world. The perception of us
Yes.
becomes them.
This is what they love.
That's their characteristics and personality.
Uh-huh.
So we need to get rid of them.
But our own people, right? A lot of things that we've been used in history in using some diabolical acts on us for their own entertainment, right? Let's say boxing, having two black men go into the ring and fight each other until one dies. All of these things that they have human zoos.
That started in
different,
slavery.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they had different things like that. We call it entertainment. There's a song, there's an artist, a reggae artist by the name of Tanya Stevens, and I'm going to try to say this as clear as possible.
Mhm.
But she has a part in her song, one of her songs, that says, well, I'm going to say it so that the audience can understand. She's pretty much saying, for all of you guys that love the ghetto youths on TV, and then she say, and come out the street and hype up and she's saying you love them on TV as entertainment, but they're the scum of the earth when you see them on the streets. This is what we do. Power is a big show, right? You've heard of Power.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
So we look at it like, we glorify it without realizing that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then we want to talk about the crimes in our community.
Come on, teach one.
And then we say, oh, come on. We're grown enough to know that this is, but our kids are watching us, getting the kick out of this stuff.
We don't understand on a deeper level.
On a deeper level.
Yeah.
On a deeper level. We think so shallow about so many aspects of our life.
Because
and
we
it's
was trained.
killing us.
We was trained that way too. That public school system. You can thank them for that. We don't learn how to think in school.
Mhm.
Our children don't go to school to learn how to think.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, using both sides of the brain and to think logically and to go over these type of discussions that we're having today. They don't learn those type of things. They learn 1 + 1 is 2. They learn A and B. They learn multiple choice. Which one of these answers is right out of 4? You know what I'm saying? I chose the answer for you out of 4. So you know what I'm saying? So we're in this box mentally, and we've grown in this box our whole lives long. You know what I'm saying? And so when information that are alternative information that's outside of that box comes along, you don't know what to do with it. You don't know what to do because your mind can't conceive it conceptualize it because it's never been taught how.
And a lot of things that we're watching in our communities are adding to our stress levels. We don't even realize that.
That's
They
right.
are adding to us.
That's right.
They're adding. We're re-traumatizing
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah, over
And over again. We're doing this
That's
to
right.
ourselves because we don't realize it. It's like we're zombies.
Yeah.
It's like we're zombies, and we're just out here. I don't even want to call it living
Yeah.
because that's not living.
Yeah.
You know. But we got to do better as a people. A lot of these things are distractions. They're just distractions from the things that really matter.
Yeah.
Most of us don't really know how to go within ourselves because there are so many distractions without
Yeah.
that's keeping us outside of ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, let's. I
Sorry.
think we got lost the track of time. What time is it?
Okay, it's right there, 3 o'clock.
Okay.
So let's see what some of the comments.
And while
are
you're
saying.
going over that, I just want to share a little bit about what's going on here at Everlasting Life, what's upcoming. We do have this Friday our Dinner in the Movie series right here, 9185 Central Avenue. We will be taking part 2 of the Dick Gregory special, 2-hour special called Wisdom. Part 1 I was out of town for, but our brother Haki over in Baltimore, the brother, what's the name of his book? You know the name of Haki's book or whatever? Oh, anyway, so brother Haki hosted that event, and I heard it was phenomenal. It was a packed house. Everybody came out in recognition of Dick Gregory. But we're doing part 2 this Friday of our Dinner and a Movie. So we're going to be taking that second half of that documentary about Dick Gregory, and we'll be airing it, and we'll be doing a discussion that follows. So that's from 7 to 9 p.m. Come on out and join us. It's always free. We got plenty of food, of course, as you know. Food, drinks, all kind of sweets, cookies, and popcorn, and cakes, and things of that nature, but it's all vegan. And that's this Friday. The next day, Saturday, is our first Saturday solstice. We are kicking it off a new name, which is the Black Wall Street Renaissance. So we're no longer using the Solstice Shopping Bazaar. We're saying the Black Wall Street Renaissance from here on out. We get a lot of feedback, a lot of good feedback from that name too, that Doc came up with. He's so smart. And so what we're gonna it's the Customer Appreciation Day this Saturday. So celebrating 22 years in the community. We're gonna have all kind of fun, exciting things, all kind of different giveaways, discounts on your food. The eLife Media will be open. It'll be open house here. Music, a lot of things for the children to do. We have the Balloon Twist Man coming, but the clown between 2 and 3 p.m. And so come on out. All that's from 12 to 6 this Saturday. All free. Come on out and join us and help us celebrate being in the community, celebrate you guys, and thank you for patronizing the restaurant for 22 years. And I believe that is it. Yeah, I believe that is it. Okay, so what do we have?
Okay, so Spud West, hi Spud West, said that if you're a weak-minded person, reality TV is not for you.
Wow. Ouch. Ouch.
I think that if you're a person with a mind, period, reality TV is not for you.
I would say if you're,
But I know what he's trying to say. Yeah.
I think if you think critically,
Yes.
then reality TV, you may not be. It may not
You
be
won't
suitable.
watch it.
Yeah.
You
because
won't watch
just
it.
know-
If you
would
were
know.
pro, you would turn it off.
You would understand.
So guess who's watching that, Spud? The majority of the people that are watching it are people. I'm not even gonna say weak-minded. I feel like I'm gonna speak from a female's perspective. If you don't know yourself, stay away from reality TV. Because what's going to happen if you do not know yourself,
That's good
and you're
advice.
not taking the time to get to know yourself,
That's
you
good advice.
from your core, reality TV is not for you.
Yeah.
Because you become you start to try to become every person that you interact with, and that's in general.
That's because
you
you
know,
don't know who
you
you
don't know
are.
who
You
you
don't have
are.
a foundation
Right,
of who you are.
right.
You take on other people's
Right.
characteristics
Yes,
and traits.
absolutely. I want some of what Alkema have, or I want some of what Hanifa has, or if I meet someone else, oh, I want to start dressing like her,
Yeah.
because you're still trying to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And you think that by taking a piece from everyone, this is going to create the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
But no, who you are is already in you.
Yeah.
You need to go there to find out.
And it's original.
Exactly.
It's original. You can't copy that.
Okay, so someone Merle said it's in our DNA. Spud again says we go to school to learn how to build the U.S. I agree.
We go to learn how to work for other people, how to make other people rich and powerful. And yeah, that's real. That's real talk. College too. College too. We go to college for the same purpose.
Yeah.
We don't go to college to learn. We go to college to
Well, you go to
job.
learn. You go to learn how to build someone else's empire.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
So you go, you don't just go to gather some information to make your knowledge and your understanding, your wisdom of life. When you go to learn a certain skill to take on a job and to make whomever's that job you're taking on. Even when you go to do things like be a doctor, be a lawyer, or things of that nature, a scientist or whatever. Well, most scientists work in a lab. Who owns the lab? And most doctors work in a hospital. Who owns and runs the hospital?
Yeah.
So, when you start to really start thinking critically about that, more broadly about that, you understand that even college.
Yeah.
I
think a big part of de-stressing as well, since we were talking about stress, is taking back control of your mind. You cannot be a television zombie and have control of your mind. Television in general, like that's all you do all day, every day. You don't have control of your mind. Someone else does. Actually, multiple people do. Because whatever channels you're tuning into, they are the ones who have control. They tell you how to live your life. They tell you what preferences you should have. They tell you this is who you should be. So just stay away from it altogether. Someone says we need to create nation-building reality TV. This is Darius.
This is how it starts.
Yes.
Right here. ELifeMedia.net.
Yes.
And just being able to share our own stories. We ain't got to worry about nobody calling us when we log off saying, you know what, y'all can't go on next week.
Right.
The owner just walked out of here.
Right.
He looked like me and you. And you know what I'm saying? So ownership is so important. And that's why when we get on these major network television stations and we are silenced and we have to say things a certain way, or we can't say what we really feel and mean because we're afraid to lose our jobs. We're afraid to lose, that platform. And so when we have our own and own our own, we don't have to worry about that. I ain't got to worry about nobody coming here and shutting us down because the owner is encouraging us to give this information.
Yeah,
that's real talk. We got to take our minds back. Oh my God, that's past beyond our power hour.
So we can have a little after hours if we want to.
Yes.
And we apologize, about our guest because we did advertise that she would be here. And she's a powerhouse. I was hoping. Yeah.
We're gonna get her back. I'm sure because she was gung ho for coming. So I'm sure something came up in her world.
Yeah.
And whatever it is,
she talks a lot about the importance of the breath.
Yeah.
And deep breathing exercises.
So was I. Some information.
Yes.
So we'll get Miss Sister Ayo back for you guys sometime really, really soon. But we hope that you guys got a little something out of it. Let's see.
Go ahead.
What's going on? What else is going on? This is the Empower After Hour at this point. Again, it's past 3 o'clock, so we respect your time. If you want to jump off, you had enough of hearing of what we have to say. We understand that you have to move on with your time. But what we do, we've taken on another thing called the Empower After Hour. So we'll take a little bit extra time after the show actually ends and just talk a little more with you interpersonally. What you Anybody else had anything to say?
Well, Darius was just saying, he was just kind of piggybacking or just encouraging what we were saying, that it starts from home,
Yeah.
a lot of it. And I think we try to, I agree, Darius, a lot of the issues that we're trying to tackle in our communities, we got to get into the homes. We got to get into the homes. And I always say, never underestimate the power of one. And that goes both ways. Not one as in, sometimes we say, oh, I can't do anything, who am I? But one as in touching one individual. You cannot look at an individual as just that. An individual comes from a family, an individual comes from a community, an individual comes from a nation. Right? An individual comes from somewhere. So you have to look, when you see that one person, just like a seed, you can't just look at an apple seed and be like, it's just one apple seed. But this thing is about to blow up into a big old apple tree and produce many, many apples. So when we talking to our youth and our young people, remember, they're taking this information back into their homes. Right? So that's also a way to get into the homes, right? As well. Now, they themselves, if they're children, this may be difficult because by the time most of us get in touch with this information, we're adults.
We've already moved on. That it's like when you say it starts from home, well, what if the children at home are not learning properly? Yeah, that's the thing. Then, that's what I'm saying. We need to find a way to get into the homes. And again, what we're doing, you're talking to the adults, the people who have. I personally feel, and this is not biased because I'm a female. I know. Was trying to do all that. They're trying to do all that. This is looking for you. This is not like biased because I'm a female, but I personally feel like in our community, we have a lot of power as women. Yes. We have to get our sisters. To get their minds together. Yeah. Like, we have so much power as females. And when we're talking about getting into the home, you get into some of these mothers, changes the entire dynamic of the home, even healthy eating. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad would say that 80% of all the work that needs to be done in our nation has to be done with the women. 80%. That's a big figure. And that, because he agrees with you, is that I think because when you teach a woman, you teach a whole nation. Absolutely. So that was why he would say that. Because the woman is the first teacher. The mother is the first teacher. So, yeah. Ooh, okay. Can we do that now? I know. You know what? I can't. Not today. So yeah. So I agree, and you know what I do? It's funny. It's ironic, is I have a lot of followers on social media, and I have a lot of people who want to follow, but I met my max, and so what I find myself, and I got this, I can't even claim it for myself. I got a part of it from my brother Troy, if he's watching, Troy X. And he said something to me that was profound one time when he said, I don't want people on my social media site who think like me. That's not who I'm trying to reach. And when he said that, that made me think deeper into it. And so now what I have been doing is like 8 out of 10 of the people, no disrespect to the brothers. I love the brothers. Right. But 8 out of the 10 people who I accept into my social media site are women. Not just women, but I'm looking for a certain criteria of woman because I understand that some of the messages that I'm attempting to, I'm serious, I'm gonna jump on social media to show pictures of the babies and my food and all that kind of stuff. I'm serious about the work that I'm doing. And I know that if I reach women, a specific type of woman, then my message will get a lot further. Yeah, so I deliberately and systematically, it's like an algorithm that I have that I go after.
I was one of the two.
Oh, hush. Yes, because I agree. We have so much power. Yes, we have, as women, we have more power than we ever know. Really do. So we don't utilize it because we don't know we have it, but we do. Well, we're at the Empower After Hours, sir. So you can
Yeah.
wrap up. But thank you guys. If you're still on eLife Media watching us, we appreciate you. And tune back in, same time, same bat channel next week. Join us, like our Facebook page, which is the Empower Hour Talk Show. The Empower Hour Talk Show. Like our Facebook page, and that way you can keep up to date there. We post a lot of our old show viewings there, and you can also find some of our old shows on YouTube under eLife Media Group, right? The eLife Media Group. Yeah. All
So
right.
this is the Empower Hour after
Hour.
hour.
Yeah.
So
Closer.
yeah, we're still kind of talking.
Yeah, we just